I want to talk about the issue of agriculture and farming and vulture funds, because up to 2,500 or maybe even 3,000 farmers may be in danger of losing their lands to vulture funds. This takes in at least 150,000 acres that are under threat. Vulture funds specialise in forcing through quick-fire sales when there is an alternative available. But what I'm finding is that, and I'm talking to a lot of farm families on this, is that vulture funds are refusing to engage. So while the banks will say that the loans that have been sold off to vulture funds, that a protection carries through with them, that is not the case. They are refusing to engage, and they're refusing in a lot of cases to restructure the loans as well. And that means that farmers are then forced down the legal route. They don't have the money for the huge legal expenses around that. Now, these vulture funds have the money, and the reason they have the money is because they're hugely wealthy companies behind these agents in the first place, but also because they get away without paying any tax at all. Now, the farming community don't get away without paying any tax, and the littlest amount that I see earned by in-farm incomes are taxed, and they have to submit their returns every year and all of that. And I think it really contrasts in terms of how vulture funds are treated as to how farm families are treated in this country. But recent comments made in committees and by commentators that farmers are not engaging at all on the issue of non-performing loans, and you see it again that we have to deal with the non-performing loans. But that is not the case, because in many cases the level of default or arrears is quite small, and our experience is that farm loans are very attractive to these vulture funds as the level of security is very strong in them. This cynicism shown by these companies will have a devastating effect on families that have worked the land for generations and make a hugely positive contribution to their communities. So, Leader, I'd want to ask you, is there any plans by government to make sure that the agricultural sector is not hit hardest, and that forced sales to make a quick buck are not allowed to threaten the social fabric of rural Ireland? And you have to ask at the end of the day, who is going to end up owning these farms? You know, in the middle of communities, in the middle where you have often relatives together that own different parcels of land, who is going to end up owning that? I think that has huge consequences for us into the future, both the short, medium and long-term future, and it needs to be stopped. And that's why legislation needs to be put in place to control these vulture funds and how they're treating farm families at the moment.